Does Taylor Swift have better bodyguards than Donald Trump? So take a look at this video that went viral over the weekend of Taylor Swift doing her, I don't know, whatever era this is. My daughter would be able to tell you what costume that is. But watch the dude in the backwards hat here scanning the audience. And then when she decides to prance to a different area of the stage, he pops right up. Look at that. And then she prances down the down the catwalk, and he goes too. So this, my friends, is what it looks like when you have vigilant security. And now this guy is new hero to all Swifties, including my two daughters. And now consider the more frantic response to the assassination attempt on President Trump's life. So what you're looking at here is several shorter females, right? Clearly tough gals. They took a job that they thought they can handle, but this is an interesting juxtaposition, because why does a former president not have the biggest, baddest dudes around? Is it because the head of Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, has famously said that she wanted to, quote, attract diverse candidates. And in fact, in the video I'm about to show you, she said that she aimed to have diverse candidates with an aim of 30% female by the year 2030. Watch.
To expand hiring, they're aiming to have 30% women recruits by 2030, and even allowed YouTube influencer Michelle Carre to train with agents.
But I'm very conscious as I sit in this chair now, of making sure that we need to attract diverse candidates and ensure that we are developing and giving opportunities to everybody in our workforce, and particularly women.
That workforce will be pivotal for the 2024 campaign season, which for the first time includes a former president who already has lifetime protection. Agents were there when Donald Trump was arraigned in New York.
We were able to work out the details ahead of time of how that particular day was going to go, but we will always ensure the safety of all of our protectees that we have.
The service has a zero-fail mission, a mission officers are training to uphold, pretending this field is the most famous address in America.
Okay, that zero fail record is tarnished now. They have a fail. Someone died on their watch. It was not their candidate, but it was someone around the candidate. Someone died. And so they don't have a zero fail anymore. And this is unacceptable. So why is diversity a priority for security? It should not be, full stop. Security should want the biggest, baddest dudes, whether you're a female or a male, I don't care. You could be, what is Brienne of Tarth, right?
Right.
She would be acceptable. That would be fine for you Game of Thrones fans.
She's 6'5".
I think that'd be okay, right?
Yeah.
So this is not gender-based. This is just who is the biggest and the baddest. Go ahead, David.
Do you remember when we showed that training of the ladies for the fire department, and they were all stuck on that thing going over that water? Like, I think we should broadcast their training. Yeah, we should broadcast their training just so people can see, what they're going through and what they're able to do.
Yes. Now consider the optics here. I mean, the optics are obvious. We've all watched it now, not just for those of us who want our diplomats and our leaders to be safe, but also to other countries. Earlier this year, when the president of Russia met with the president of China, this video went viral. These are their two bodyguards for respectively President Putin and President Xi Jinping. And look at the international standards that they have versus what we've got. So the guy on the left guides Putin. The guy on the right guides Xi Jinping. They had a conversation with a nod.
They're like, yep, we got him.
Now, the comments on this video are gold. I've watched it like 9 times. I mean, they look like they were lab grown. Absolutely. Like they have metal for breakfast. Shouldn't it be a priority that anybody who needs protection gets people like that? You think? Can we agree that diversity has nothing to do with it? Full stop. Over the weekend, I actually took some flack on Twitter because I said there was no reason to mock these women. We need to mock the people who put them in place. Now watch this one woman who's sort of fumbling around with her gun, looking a bit frantic. This obviously, now that you've seen the Russian bodyguard and the Chinese bodyguard, let's look again at her.
'Cause you had a bad day.
I'm sorry, but can we stop that? I'm sorry, I didn't notice we had the music. I'm sorry, I meant to mute that. So again, as one user put it, we should blame the owner, not the dog. We live in a society, obviously, that has told her that she can do it, that her best is enough. We live in a society where we tell boys they can be girls, girls can be boys. We tell obese people that they should be on fitness magazines. Obviously, the head of the Secret Service is actively recruiting people like this. Is it her fault that she accepted a job like this in this terrible economy? How do we know that she was not willing to risk her life for the president? So I'm not on board with blaming her personally. I am 100% on board with blaming the system, except that this image that also went viral this weekend shows that she is not in the dog pile that she is supposed to be in. So we don't know the full context of what her job would have been. It seems to be that all of the men are in the dog pile and the women are not. Maybe that's what it was supposed to be. We're gonna get answers. But these are appropriate questions, and we should all agree that this is not the standard. So what I won't do is assign the entire blame to this person. This is a human response. It was flawed across the board. I welcome your comments on this. But I think that we should agree on is that the standard should be much, much higher. So what are the standards? Well, if you go to the Secret Service website, you can see that there is absolutely no requirement for a Secret Service agent for height, weight, or body fat percentage. Instead, the physical test that they take is called APAP, which is Applicant Physical Abilities Test. And it's points based. So they are scored. They have to get a minimum of a 20 score, and they're scored on these categories. If we look at the next slide, whether they can do push-ups, at least 14, sit-ups, at least 20. This agility run means how fast can they change direction, and this 1.5 mile run. So they have to complete 1.5 mile run in less than 20 minutes. That's not that fast. I would wager the Russian and the Chinese bodyguard can do this a heck of a lot faster. And again, if you look at the criteria for that 1.5 mile run, they have to finish it in 19.41, but they can walk or stop. You guys.
Walk or stop.
So you have to do 1.5 miles, but not continuously. And you can walk it or you can stop. So that's not the job.
Are you also allowed to use a hover round?
Like, is the bad guy going to stop if you're chasing the bad guy?
Yeah, like slow down.
You just flash the universal timeout symbol, and then everybody has to chill out for a good 5 minutes. Yep, just time out, and then yeah.
I mean, this is embarrassing. I don't know if any of you like to do Orange Theory. It's basically HIIT training. An Orange Theory class is much harder than these four things. You do way more than 14 push-ups in a class, 22 sit-ups.
Bernadette in our chat says, I'm disabled, and I would pass that criteria.
I mean, I'd take any of the people who went to Orange Theory with me this weekend because they could do more than this in easily. This is not an ad for Orange Theory, but if you'd like to join me, let me know because I like partners. So again, Cheadle released. So yeah, this is not a real, they don't, in many American schools no longer do physical fitness tests. And this is a baseline, what kids do. So we clearly, these standards are no standards at all.
Sammy J in our chat says, in our Rumble chat says, in 1989, the U.S. Air Force had 11 minutes for a 1.5 mile run.
Okay.
In 1989. Times have changed.
Right. And so people could clearly do that. Getter to go,
GTR to go, and in our Rumble chat says, I run 2 miles in 14 minutes. I'm 62 years old today. These standards are way too low. Yes, they are.
Clearly.
Yes.
Okay. My time right now is about a 9-minute mile. So
I can walk. Anthony Goodley says I can walk a mile in about 15 minutes. I can walk a mile in about 11 minutes.
Yeah.
12 minutes with the dog. Routinely, every morning I do that.
Yes. Without stopping or walk. I mean, there should be no walking. No. Because the bad guys don't walk. That's not the job. Who are we aiming for here? Now, Cheadle released this statement over the weekend about the Trump assassination attempt and the RNC. She says she's confident that they've got a better plan now. It's okay now, she says. We're flexible. In light of the shooting, we've strengthened our security.
Oh, yeah.
She says that the security plans are designed to be flexible. Okay. As the convention progresses and in accordance with the direction of the president, we will continuously adapt our operations as necessary to ensure the highest level of safety and security for the president. In addition, she says there are security enhancements now. Okay. She says, it's a big responsibility. I take that seriously. So those enhancements, I want to see them now. Like, I want to see the biggest mofos you got. Don't you? Like, we got to see this now. We got to see this for all candidates. We should want this across the board. Now, this statement clearly will not be enough because President Biden has ordered an investigation into the security around President Trump. He also canceled his plans to go to Texas today to deliver remarks on the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. And Vice President Kamala Harris has postponed a planned trip to Florida over the weekend, too. The House Oversight Committee announced that it will open an investigation into the shooting as well. And they have invited, lightly using that word, because if she doesn't show, they will subpoena Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle to testify at the hearing as well on the 22nd. Now, it's worth remembering that Democrats tried to strip President Trump of his Secret Service detail in April. They introduced a bill called, it's an acronym for disgraced. It's denying infinite security and government resources allocated towards convicted and extremely dishonorable. That's disgraced if you were to write it all out. Former Protectees Act. It was introduced by Mississippi Democrat Representative Bernie G. Thompson, but it was only introduced to committee. No one has yet voted on it. I don't think even the lowest of the low congressional representatives would vote for it now, but we'll see if it moves forward. So let me know what you think of these so-called standards. Are we sending our best for our leaders and representatives, or is this proof that, I want someone's resignation over this. I want several resignations over this.
Do you think that Alejandro Mayorkas, who is in charge of Cheadle, is going to fire her? Of course not. And of course, President Biden is totally out to lunch. He doesn't even know where his shoes are, and he's not going to fire her. He probably, as Dan Bongino pointed out, doesn't even know who she is.
Right.
Clearly, he doesn't even know who she is. He doesn't know who's alive and who's dead. So no one's going to be fired over this. This is the great secret of the federal government. No one ever loses their job. So the worse you do, the more harm you wrought,
right?
The greater the promotions you get,
sure.
Like Victoria Nuland.
But okay, let's fantasize. What would be an appropriate response right now is resignation of the head of Secret Service, some kind of punishment for the people who did not act when they were warned about the bullet, several people probably, a real investigation, not by, the problem is the investigation we're getting now is by the FBI,
right,
that appointed a special counsel to investigate Donald Trump, which was now ruled unconstitutional. So is the FBI the governing body we want from this? I don't know who we would turn to at this point for an investigation. Sherlock Holmes? Like, there's literally no body that we should trust. Congress will hold hearings, but that's all they can do. They can recommend to the Justice Department, and the Justice Department tells them to pound sand.
Right.
We got nothing. We have nothing. But again, if we're fantasizing about what should happen, resignations and this standards page I showed you should be put in the fire, and we should get real standards from let's consult China on this. Clearly, they've got some bad dudes. Let's see what they do to put people through the paces.
Yeah, let's see what Russia does to put people through the paces. No more 15-minute, 20-minute mile?
20-minute mile and a half, please. So my 7-year-old could do that.
You could literally be running and eating donuts at the same time. That appears to be what some of these
literally, if we think
doing.
about putting our 7-year-old Eve against one of them, like pretend Eve's the bad guy, she's going to catch him. She's going to catch someone doing a 19-minute 1.5 mile.
I just think about President Trump standing next to me, right? I'm like, he would tower over me, right?
Yeah.
I would shake his hand. He's 6'3". I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
You know, here's a guy who's massive man.
Right.
So you're going to assign a 5'4" individual to guard him?
Well, okay, I'm 5'3". We can't stand up, right? Because the cameras won't see us.
No, the cameras will cut us off, yeah.
So Clayton and I'm 5'2". Did I just say I was 5'3"? I lied right to your face.
You just lied. We need to put you in front of a congressional hearing.
I want to pretend. I'm 5'2" and Clayton's 6'2", so we're a full foot apart. And yeah, I can't cover him. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, if someone wants to take me out, they're going to take me out, and that extra foot is not going to protect me at all.
It's your whole head.
Yeah, so
that needs to be the job.
Unless you are like carrying a stack of books on your head or something like that.
Or wearing some really good stilettos, but I don't have anything like that.
So